In this video, we will be doing conversions within the metric system. So the last video, we did the same thing with the US or English system. And in future videos, we're going to convert from US to metric and from metric to US. But for today, we're going to stay within the metric system. These are the units that we are going to be exploring. We're going to have problems with length, some with weight, and some with volume. These are the metric units that we will see in our problems. You will see a lot of tens, hundreds, and thousands. That's very different than the US system, where we see all kinds of different numbers. That makes converting within the metric system a bit easier. Effectively, multiplying by 10, 100, or 1,000, or dividing by 10, 100, or 1,000 really is just moving the decimal point around. We're going to continue to use our method of multiplying by a fancy 1 to do these problems, although that's not the only way. It will help us, though, in our next video where we have to go from US to metric or metric to US. So we're going to continue to practice that same technique as we tackle these problems. In example 1, we're asked how many kiloliters are in 5,000 liters. Again, there's a lot of different ways to get to this answer, and some of you may already know it. But we're going to use the same technique that we were using in the last video because we're going to need it again in the future. We're going to rewrite this question as how many kiloliters equals 5,000 liters. And then we're going to multiply by our fancy 1. If we have liters on top right now, that's where we're at. In order to cancel liters, we're going to need to move liters to the bottom, because if we have top and bottom, they're going to cancel out. And from liters, that's kind of like home base. We can go anywhere we want within volume and capacity. So from liters, we can get to anything. We really want to get to kiloliters. So we're going to move from liters to kiloliters. On our conversion list, we can see that for every 1 kiloliter, there is 1,000 liters. Remember, what we're doing here is multiplying by 1. So this value has to be the same as this value. 1 kiloliter is the same size, if you will, as 1,000 liters. So if the top and the bottom are equal, we're multiplying it by 1. And when we multiply by 1, we're not changing the value. We're just going to make it look a little different. Let's make sure these units cancel out just like we were in the last video. If liters is on top, it will cancel with liters on bottom. And we are left in kiloliters, which is what we want. So we're good to go. Grab a calculator if you need to. Remember, multiplying is on the top, and we're dividing by the things on the bottom. So we're going to take 5,000 times 1, which isn't going to change it. But then we're going to divide by 1,000. If you've done all that correctly, you should get that this is equivalent to 5 kiloliters. Again, this is not the only way to do this. There's lots of other ways. And as you get good at this, you could just probably do it in your head real quickly. Converting within the metric system isn't too difficult once you get the hang of it. But we're going to continue to use this technique because it's going to help us later in the next video when we're converting from metric to US and from US to metric. So getting in this practice now will help us later. Let's look at example 2. Express 40 decameters as kilometers. Let's get it rewritten. We want to know how many kilometers equals 40 decameters. Now, decameters is DAM for its abbreviation, and we're going to multiply by 1. I'm in decameters and I want to get out. So if it's on top, I need to cancel it by putting it down here on the bottom. Now, if you look back at your list, from decameters, the only thing we can really get to is meters. So that's where I'm headed. And on our conversions, we see that 1 decameter is the same as 10 meters. Now, meters isn't where I want to end up. I want to end up in kilometers. Great news, though. Meters is home base for length. From meters, you can get anywhere inside of the metric system as far as length goes. So we're going to use that. If meters is on top and I want to cancel it out, we're going to put it on the bottom. And then from meters, we can go wherever we want inside of length of metric. From meters, I really want to go to kilometers because that's what it's asking. Some people say kilometers, same thing. That word is the same. It's just pronounced a couple different ways sometimes. So from meters, we're going to kilometers or kilometers. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Let's make sure our units cancel. Decameters on top, decameters on bottom. Meters on top, meters on bottom. And look what we're left with. Exactly what we wanted. So now it's time to grab a calculator. We're going to take 40 and multiply it with the things on top. So 40 times 10 times 1, which isn't going to change it. And then we're going to have to divide by 1,000. You should be getting a final answer of 0.4 kilometers. Let's do one more. Example 3 says, how many milligrams equals 34 centigrams? This one's already set up for us, so we're ready to go. We're going to multiply by our fancy 1. We're in centigrams, and we don't want to be there, so we're going to put that on the bottom. From centigrams, the only place that we can go on our list is to grams. So that's where we're headed. We don't have any other choice here. We've got 1 gram equivalent to 100 centigrams. Once we're in grams, though, that's home base. We can go anywhere that we'd like to within the metric system for mass or weight. So now that we're in grams, I'm going to go to milligrams because that's where we're hoping to get. On your conversion list, you can see that 1,000 milligrams is the same as 1 gram. Let's double check and make sure everybody that we wanted to cancel canceled and we ended where we wanted to end. Centigrams on top with centigrams on bottom. Grams on top and grams on bottom. I'm in milligrams, which is what we wanted. That's great news. So we're going to take 34 times 1 times 1,000. And then we're going to divide that answer by 100, and dividing by 1, but dividing by 1 is not going to change it. You should be getting 340 milligrams.